Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Steven and welcome back. Alright, so this is kind of interesting, but I just want to throw it out there and get you guys' opinion on this. But basically, what I want to know is, how rather, do dark skinned people perhaps feel some type of a way when they hear, the N word come out of a lighter skinned person's, a lighter skinned black person's mouth? And I bring this up because this kind of has been on my mind off and on throughout the years, just because of a couple of things I saw while I was in high school. A couple, just a couple. But, one incident involved myself. Like, I was in class, and for some reason, something came up and I wound up saying it. And then, one classmate kind of, sort of, a little took offense to it. Like, I don't know. I don't know you like that, you know even though the classmate knew that I was black and how, knew that I consider myself black, I identify as black, I'm black, etc. Right? But kind of felt, a little way about that, you know. Then another incident um, that I saw, this light skinned girl was talking and she wound up referring to like this, really dark skinned dude, Native African, by the way. She wound up calling him the N word, right? And he took some offense to it. He seemed like he was like legitimately offended by it. Even though she like, like what you tripping for? I'm black too. Like, quit tripping. And then he was like, yeah, but you, I don't know, you lighter, right? But I just find that a little interesting. I guess it's something that could be understood. And that also depends on the context you're using it into, because I could perhaps understand the context, because that is important as well. Um, and especially, I guess this can definitely go for like uh, black people who are white passing. That would definitely, be like, what? Especially if you don't know they're white passing and you hear them saying that, you like, you know, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to encounter some issues in the community, right? If folks don't know who they are, But I just find this a little interesting. I guess my personal opinion on this, of course, as I say, like in a perfect world, this word would have never come into an existence, right? In a perfect world. Um, but it is in existence. Unfortunately, it was ingrained in us through slavery, through beatings, lynchings, rapes, etc. Right, and we passed that down through the generations, um, you know, that followed us, etc., etc., etc. And really, no one should be using the word, right, because of its history, of course, right, but the reality is people use the word, people have different definitions of the word, people are kind of split on who should use the word and who shouldn't use the word, etc. Right? But when it comes to, let's keep it in the community, dark skin and light skinned people, do you perhaps think that there's like a cutoff line, like okay, you can only say it if like this? Because you do notice like some of the rappers, like Drake, he definitely, like Drake, J. Cole, right? They use it definitely, right? But I feel like when it comes to lighter skinned people, if you in the community, then yeah, right. If you consider yourself black, then yeah, right. I feel like it should just probably just be across the board, right? Because if you black, then you need to just be black and down for blackness and the community, etc. Right? It's not like, oh, this black person, I only expect a certain amount of community activism from this light skinned person versus this dark skinned person I would expect more from. But I think in this case, it could just be across the board, even in my opinion. But in my personal day to day life, I tend not to say the word just because just the environment and the situations that I'm in don't really call for it. But as I mentioned before, I try not to say the word, but I still keep it on reserve, right? Just in case you got to deal with an N, you know, and let an N know what's up and what's good and what's real, right? And just you got to check somebody, put somebody in check, and let them know, right? But in terms of lighter skin and darker skin people, I guess it's just a question that I want to put out there. To the darker skinned people, would you feel some type of a way about maybe a lighter skinned person using the word? I usually think probably, I don't know. But I did have a coworker who said, I had a coworker who was like, yeah, like he's a darker, he's like dark skin, right? And we would kind of like had sort of a little discussion about this. And there was like another coworker too. She was a dark skinned woman, right? And we kind of got on this topic about N-word usage, and they had asked me about it, and I basically just explained what I explained to y'all. Like, I tend not to use it, but I keep it on reserve. And he's like, he basically don't want to hear me using it in a jokey way, But I don't know. It may have been, there's always a little bit of truth to it, right? Um, but I try not to say it, for us in the community, right? I try not to use the word so freely, you know. But sometimes, you know, the situation in the context that you're in kind of calls for it one way or the other, you know. Um, but to bring it back to topic, um, you know, it does, in my experience, from what I've experienced and what I've seen, sometimes, on occasion, some darker skinned people may maybe take a little, maybe feel some type of a way about that. And I just think that's maybe just because of the way that lighter skinned people are viewed sometimes as being not black at times. But um, it's just something that I just wanted to throw out there and get your opinion on, right? Since we're talking about these topics, this is just something that I thought about, like particularly for the darker skinned people. You know, how do you feel about lighter skinned people saying the N word, right? If I, just got on the video, just throwing the word all around, which I kind of have a couple of times, when I really felt the need to get real, right? Like, how would you feel? You know, you know, is it cool as long as you down for the community, you in the community, all that good stuff? Or is it like, man, there's a cutoff line. You got to be darker than a paper bag to be using the word. All right. But yeah, that's all I got. So let me know what's up in the comments section. Thanks a lot for watching. Adios and goodbye for now.